What's up, guys? Welcome back to Fish Over Chips Woodworking. My name is Peter, and today we are making this super simple, awesome little modern end table out of just plywood. So let's just jump into it. Alright, so the cut list for this video is very simple. It's furniture completely out of plywood. So what you're going to need, the top and the bottom pieces are just going to have to be 7 inches wide by 24 inches long. Of course, this plywood is 3/4 inch thick, so you're going to cut 2 of those the same. And then the 2 legs are going to be 3.5 inches wide by 24 inches long, and then again 3/4 inches thick. So the first thing we're going to do once you got those pieces cut is we're going to take the top and bottom pieces and we're going to round this edge over. So how we're going to do that is we're going to take something that's round. I've just got this little piece that's left over from cutting a hole with the hole saw. This is a 3.5 inch circle, but you don't need to use something that's 3.5 inches. You can use a cup if you want, anything that is fairly small, bottle cap even, and we're just going to go ahead and we're going to line up that curve there to the edge, just like that. And then we're just going to make a little line right there. So you're going to want to go ahead and do that with all 4 corners of both those pieces. And once you've got those 4 corners drawn out, you're going to take your jigsaw and just cut those pieces off. All right, now that we've got one cut out, now we're going to go ahead and double-sided tape these 2 together. And then we're going to use the router to cut out those edges. Alright, once you've got those double-sided taped, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to cut a little bit out with the jigsaw and then use the flush trim bit on the router to flatten those out and make them the same. Alright, once those are all done, now you've got 2 pieces perfectly symmetrical. So now that we've got these 2 pieces cut to be exactly the same, we got to figure out where we want our legs to go. So what we're going to do here, we're going to go down 2.5 inches. We're going to draw a line at 2.5 inches. It's easy when you got a right angle like this. So we've got a line down at 2.5 inches away from the edge right there. I don't know if you can see that, but it's 2.5 inches in. Okay. And then we're going to want to figure out, this is 3.5 inches wide. So we need to even up 3.5 inches on this 7-inch board. So how we do that, we're going to take our 7-inch board here, we're going to minus 3.5 from it, which is this thickness. That gives us 3.5. Then we're going to divide 3.5 by 2. That's 1.75. So then we're going to go in 1.75 inches from this side and 1.75 inches from this side. And that's going to give us a mark about here and here. And that'll show us where to put these edges of this board. This edge and this edge will line up on those lines, as well as that 2.5 inch mark you made there, and then you'll know. So let's do that. All right, so now we've got a marking right there with the 1.75. So we're gonna line our board up from here, just like that. Perfect, that's exactly where we want it. It's on those lines right there. So now once it's there where we want it to be, I'm gonna go ahead and mark the back side and just kind of make those markings more bold. Perfect. So now we've got that exactly where we want it to be. So now that you've got your marking there where that piece is going to go ahead and do that for both sides on both pieces. So again, that's 2.5 inches down and then 1 3/4 inch in on each piece. All right, so now you've got the markings on both sides on both pieces. Just go ahead and line up that bottom piece there where it's going to be, and then you're just going to draw a line around it exactly where it is, just connecting that back side there. All right, so now that you've done that and you've got a rectangle on each of these sides, you're going to go ahead and drill a pre-hole. This pre-hole is where you're going to put the screws in, which will come in from the bottom side, but you got to drill the holes in from the top here so you know exactly where those go in the bottom. And you only need 2 on each side. Just kind of space them out as you see fit. All right, so now that you've got those 4 holes in there, now what you're going to want to do is go ahead and grab your piece, and we're just going to line it up again. Make sure you know where you want it. Perfect. And we're going to grab some screws, and we're going to screw them in from the bottom. I'm going to be using screws that are 2.5 inches long, so there's enough that goes into these boards to give it some support. So now just go ahead and from the underside, so this side that I'm drilling into will be on the ground, go ahead and drill those 4 in. All right, as you see, I did not drill them in all the way. They're still sticking out quite a bit. I didn't want to put them in all the way, so what I'm going to do is now I'm just going to drill them in. So there's a tiny poke of the screw just coming through, and then I'll show you what to do once we've got that. So put it up on the side when you're drilling, and just watch it. And once you see a little bit poke through, about an 1/8 inch to 1/4 inch, just go ahead and stop, do the next one. All right, so now that you've got all of those tiny little ends poking through, you're going to want to put this piece down. It won't be super stable. Grab your glue. Sorry, I should mention, you're going to want to do this with both pieces so the screws are sticking out just a little bit with both pieces. So do that before you move on. Going to go ahead and glue on the rectangles that you drew there with those screws sticking up. Just do one at a time for now. Put a good amount of glue, cover up most of that rectangle. I don't have to do the whole thing. And then we're just going to go ahead and put this piece right where we originally drew that rectangle. Push down into those 2 pieces where the screws are sticking up. Yep, just like that. And now we're going to go ahead, and you've got 2 screw holes in it now, so that's going to be a lot easier to find it, line it back up once it comes out. But I am going to flip it around here on the edge of the table and go underneath it, line it up again. Once I've got that lined up, and put some pressure on it and go ahead and screw it in. All right, I've got 1 screwed in there. That's enough that I can line this one up right there. But there you go, there's one. Nice. Now we're going to go ahead and do that with the other. Well, it's easier when the first one's in. Okay, now we've got those 2 in right there. Now this will be much easier to go ahead and line those ones up. Put the glue on these pieces. And then just go ahead and place this and screw on those. All right, so when you're screwing in these ones, I forgot to mention, you're gonna want the screws to go through the box. So once you screw your pre-drill through this little rectangle we made there, you're gonna wanna make sure that the screws are coming up through the rectangle so you can see the exposed screws through the rectangle, because then you'll be able to line up these rectangles to these pieces that you just glued. Just thought I'd mention that in case you make the same mistake I did. Line it up there. So once you line up those rectangles underneath with the legs, just kind of push down, get those the points of the screws in there, and then just go ahead and screw it down. All right, there we go. There we have it. Let's sand it and stain it. All right, guys, here it is, the finished product. I am super happy with this, the way it came out. I think it came out really good, and being fully just plywood, I'm really happy with it. So there it is. Here's some footage of it inside my house, see what I'm actually using it for. But yeah, like I said, really happy with it. Super easy project, did not take that long to build, and very cheap. I did this with some leftover plywood pieces. I wouldn't say they're scraps, but leftover. I wasn't using them for anything else. So yeah, like I said, super happy with it. And yeah, that's gonna do it for the video today. Thank you so much for watching. As always, like, comment, subscribe, comment down below any other videos that you'd like me to make, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like that video, click right here to see how I made 4 projects from just one 2x4.